Good evening, everyone, and welcome back. Thank you to everybody who has already checked out the intro and then the first four questions. And I really appreciate everybody who's given me the feedback and trying to help me coach this along. And I've even had a few volunteers, which, if you go to adamgoodwin.ca, there's a whole bunch more information about me and where I stand, and there's some links to help support my campaign and volunteer. I really do want to find some people who know that they're good at it, know that they can make a difference, and want to help me make a difference long term. So take a look if you can. I'd love it. Thank you. Jump back into the questions. Do 5, 6, and 7 tonight. Question 5 was, how would you have voted on the decision to establish a supervised consumption site in Red Deer? In favor or against, and explain. I would have voted against it. I don't believe that there is such a thing as safe consumption of toxic chemicals. I think that we need to focus on the rehab, helping people get clean, and early prevention. We can't have in our society the possibility that we've supplied a place where some of these drugs can get out and get into the general population. Worse would get to our kids. It's the availability of something that triggers us to try it, particularly when we're young and our prefrontal cortex isn't even fully formed. We're just saying, oh, I saw somebody do it, so I'm going to give it a go. When I was 12, I was surrounded by smokers. Everybody in my house and everybody in my neighborhood and all around smoked. I started smoking when I was 12. Luckily, that was the extent of it, and I've long time since quit. But there are a lot of people who are exposed to much worse, and I think as a society, we have to work very hard to make sure that those boundaries are kept and protect our youth. On to the next one. Do you support City Council's decision to create a municipally controlled corporation to manage electricity delivery in Red Deer? Why or why not? Categorically no. This is nothing more than admitting that we can't run the business of a city. It's infrastructure. These are the things that are part of it. Having a proper asset integrity plan where you look at beginning of life all the way to end of life, that's part of running it. What we're doing with MCC is creating another level of bureaucracy. You're going to have a board govern it. You're going to have checks and balances. Everything's going to take far longer than it needed to, which is always going to add to the price. And ultimately, long term, the delivery will be more expensive to the end user. I think that we should look at building in-house an actual, well, I shouldn't say an actual, I'm pretty sure somebody has it somewhere, but an asset integrity plan that looks at these parts of equipment that are looked at as near end of life. Because end of life doesn't mean race to replace. End of life is, again, a statistical number that says you've got X amount of hours on this type of motor, you've got X number of kilowatts run through certain capacitors, certain transistors and whatnot. So what we need to do is a failure modes and effects analysis, which takes a look at your aging equipment at first, and you look at, okay, what's going to make this fail? And then what's going to happen when it fails? So what's going to make this particular transformer fail? Well, obviously power surges, temperature, a couple other things. Well, all right, so what's the effects? Well, now you lose power downstream of that. Is that critical? Depends on what time of day. So if it's peak hours, it becomes much more important. You do that for all of your near end of life equipment, and you can put in a strategy that says, okay, these things have to get replaced right away, and that gives you the opportunity to do things more efficiently and more effectively. And then there's other things where you can say, you know what, I can buy a spare, keep it close, And if it fails, my FMEA told me that I have 8 hours until this becomes critical. So if this fails, I have 8 hours to get to changing it. It's a big strategic discussion. It's a big strategic plan. That's where we need to go. There's a whole bunch more on that, because that is really, again, where my experience as an operations leader, maintenance leader, and asset integrity leader will really come into play and help improve the business of running the city and pass on the savings and certainly improve efficiencies. Last question for tonight, probably a bit of a quick one. This is good. I can only imagine people can, watch this for so long and then they're like, okay, good, Adam, move on. In your opinion, what are reasonable tax rates? I love this question because it's somewhat arbitrary to the person. However, I did a lot of research on this. And in the city, around 100,000 people across Canada, there's about 20 to 22 cities that fit in that 80,000 to 120,000 people range. There is no reason for our tax rate to be over 85 cents on every $1,000 of property value. That's your all-in consolidated value. That's what drove the number that was the greater than 10% tax hike. So we jumped from 89 cents to 99 cents. Obviously, that's unacceptable. And that means the city is not running the operations to the efficiency level that they really need to be. Again, this is where one of my main strengths are going to be, is to be able to interface and help guide that as much as possible. So there you have it. There's a couple more questions, a couple more answers. Please keep the comments and positive suggestions coming. I love it. Like, share, let your friends know. Anybody in the Red Deer area, this is where I'm going to start really putting out ideas, thoughts, and answering questions. Thank you very much, and I hope everybody has a great rest of your day.